Hey guys, welcome to my November reading wrap-up. It has been a slower month for me reading-wise, but I still managed to finish a few books. Let's just go right into it and make the cover page. I started working on this one without any plan and I feel like this happens often lately. Good for me for not overthinking it, finally. Anyway, the only thing I will share I wanted to include were those birthday humanoid fox stickers from Izobova. She was including this sticker sheet for free in her orders couple months back when she had a birthday, and I am so glad she did because it is stunning and it felt perfect for November. I picked some stationery before filming and I just put stuff on the page. My goal was once again making something minimal, or better said, less overdone than usually. But roughly in the 2/3 of this process, I literally had no idea what to do next. And I actually did not like what I made so far. But I stepped away and I also asked people in Jeshi Corinne's community Discord. And I got some great suggestions. Thanks, guys. I came back to it later with fresh eyes, and all it needed were some details here and there, which, to be honest, I struggle with often. But I think this turned out lovely, and I am proud I used up lots of random stationery items I had lying around as well. Almost everything is listed in the description, so you can check it out if you are interested, but sometimes I do not know where I got stuff from because I have had it for a long time, or it is such a low quality I do not want you guys to buy and be disappointed later, so I usually don't list those in the description. But if there is something you really like, don't hesitate to ask in the comments and I will try to help you out. On the right side there is my reading calendar. I love having this in my journal. What I do here is I mark days I read each book, and all the books are color coded, so it's easier for me to find one if I want to see. Will I ever actually want to see? Probably not, but I just love having it in my journal. When I started doing these calendars, I used to mark the full period between starting a book and finishing it. So, for example, if I read a book from December 1st to December 9th, I'd mark all the days, even when I was not reading that book every day, which is fine. Now, what I do, and I think I started doing that after Storygraph introduced their new statistics, I love those, you can get there a calendar generated where they mark days you read each book with minutes and pages and all that, and I liked how it looked, so I started doing it this way. Well, it only works if you update your reading daily, which I surprisingly do. Basically, I now mark only days I actually read the book, and I also write the title, and I love it. I think I will keep doing this in 2025 as well. And the 2025 reading journal setup is coming, guys. I have not started working on it yet, but I hope to have it up next week, and I am really excited for that. Anyway, there is the blank space under the calendar, and at first I was thinking about decorating it. I really wanted to use another sticker from that Fox sticker sheet, but I decided to do a small statistics section in there. And it was not thought through at all, and it is a bit off and crooked, but it is okay. I read 6 books during November, but I actually finished only 3. Well, almost 4. I was listening to the Grace of Kings for the better part of November, but I did not manage to finish it in November. I did on December 1st. So close. Anyway, today I will be talking about 3 books, and let's start with the first one. Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle, and I started this book on a whim, knowing absolutely nothing about it, but I just really like the cover. And I have a humorous and very short story about this book. Well, is it humorous? I chuckled when I realized it. Anyway, I started this book November 1st, and that is actually a stately holiday. I never know how to translate these things into English. Anyway, it was a day when most people had a day off to honor and remember the deceased people of the family, and people often go to their graves and pray and put these ugly plastic flowers on top of the grave. You know, that stuff. Well, anyway, I went for a walk, put the book on and forgot what day it was. I was just happy to have some time off for myself finally, but instead of usual calming and slow walk, I kept seeing lots and lots of people on the sidewalks hurrying and pushing themselves, hands full of the flowers and candles and stuff. And then it hit me what day it was, and that I live nearby one of the town cemeteries, and that I was currently listening to Bury Your Gaze, walking around the cemetery. And yes, that was the story. Okay, now that you know how lame I am, let's talk about the book. It was okay. I realized it was supposed to be horror only after I finished it. There were some, I guess, horror scenes, but they did not felt horror to me. Also, I did not really care what happens, and I am yet to find a good horror book. Good for me, I mean. In the end, I was just enjoying the story, going with the flow. I liked the writing and how the past of the main character was slowly integrated in. And I also loved the internal turmoil and the struggles, mostly with coming out to his friends from childhood and a family, while he was being stalked and chased by something. The inclusion of not only gay characters but also bi and asexuals and basically the whole spectrum was effortlessly good and not forced like it often feels in books. It was good, all of it. The ending kind of lost me. It felt rushed and out of the place, but in the end I did enjoy the book and I will give this author another try. For the decoration, I used this beautiful skull PET tape from Journal Say. I am not sure if you can see it, but it has a little hollow section. And I was so happy when I realized I actually have this tape and that the colors kind of match the book cover. And I think I can say the skulls match the story as well. Also, I am trying to get better at writing titles, so I tried. It is rough, but I am getting there. On to the next one, and guys, I have finally read Iron Flame, and where to start with this one? I don't think I have many positive things to say, so if you don't want to hear anything critical about Iron Flame or Fourth Wing, skip ahead, please. The tragic thing is, if it was not for the 0 brain cells of our main female protagonist, this would have been an easy 5-star. Easy 5-star. She was so frustrating to read, I almost threw the book out the window multiple times. Hers is the POV for the whole book, and oh man, was it difficult to get through. It felt like I was reading the same thing over and over and over. Her thoughts were so repetitive and frustrating. I think I will use the word frustrating a lot in this review. There was no character development, except maybe in Xaden. There was a glimpse. She, Violet, asks from others what she herself is not willing to do, repeatedly, and she has the audacity to be mad about it, about everything, repeatedly. Violet also knows what she asks is actually not wise and not good for anyone, because she then might be the reason everything everybody worked years for collapses. What they are working for, I stopped caring about because the world building is somewhere, not here. Yet she remains to be mad at Xaden and threatening to break up. But she also lusts for him every single time she remembers or sees him. Ugh. The dialogue is cringy at times. A lot of the story was fairly predictable and sometimes it does not make sense. Also, the author was killing off her friends here and there, and there was no mention of them later, which made me completely forget about them. And it is especially ridiculous seeing how Violet can't seem to forget about one character from first book, but she forgets about these friends immediately. But also, I am not sure I could withstand any more whining from her. That said, there were parts where I was enjoying the story minus Violet quite a lot, and I did not want to put the book down. I was interested to see what happens next, even if it was sometimes predictable. And if Violet had one more brain cell, this would be a great book. Great in terms of me being entertained by it. I have one more positive thing to say, and that is the author finally figured out using swear words on every single page does not make the book better, but actually makes it juvenile. I was so annoyed by that in the fourth wing. Thankfully, here swearing is, I'd say, just enough, if there needs to be some. And here is where my positivity ends, I guess. Not to say this review was positive at all. The writing itself was not good. I had to read through many sections multiple times and they still did not make sense. And it made me even more frustrated. Also, the spelling and wording mistakes. Oh man, if I, a person whose English is not the first language, spots those, it is not good. This should have been heavily edited. One wonders if it even was edited. I understand the author or the publisher, let's be real, probably publisher, wanted to put this book out as soon as possible, but at what cost is this acceptable? I am pretty sure the fans would have been totally okay with waiting half a year, maybe even longer, in exchange for actually good book. This, to me, is the prime example of how not to do this. Will I continue with the series? Maybe. I am not sure yet. Despite feeling very disappointed by this book, look at how good this spread turned out. I love it. And now for the last book I finished in November, and I was thinking about not even making a page for it because I have made 2 spreads for this series already, but hey, here is a very low effort one. I just used the offcut of the PET tape I used in the Bury Your Gaze spread and the decoration is done. The Gate of the Feral Gods is the 4th book in the Dungeon Crawler Carol series, and I honestly wonder how this author comes up with this stuff. This time, crawlers are divided into groups and enclosed in bubbles where they need to defeat 4 bosses, and that's all I can describe this as. At this point, I just go with the flow, and if I don't understand something, I don't mind. Donut is still being Donut, but Carl seems to be losing it, and he's getting more aggressive, and I am curious to see where this leads. Also, I have to say the audiobook is, as always, absolutely great, and even the advertisement for other books at the end was scripted like a story. I loved that, and it took me a second to figure out it is not just continuation of the story. Nice move. That's it for the books I finished in November. Let's do a flip through. Coming back to the cover page after a while makes me like it even more. I am really happy with how it turned out, and I am so glad I persevered and did not give up. Next page is a visual shock compared to the cover, but I am so excited about how this looks, and it was so easy. Same with this one. The map washi tape looks so good, and the skulls, I love them so much. The last page was very low effort, but still looking nice, and I am really happy with how all of these pages turned out. And yes, I can't even close this journal anymore, it's so chunky. If you like this video and want to see more from me, here are some you might like. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.